everyone, today's story is Lost and Found by Oliver Jeffries. Once there was a boy, and one day he found a penguin at his door. The boy didn't know where it had come from, but it began to follow him everywhere. The penguin looked sad, and the boy thought it must be lost. So the boy decided to help the penguin find its way home. Look, they've headed to the Lost and Found office. He checked in the Lost and Found office, but no one was missing a penguin. He asked some birds if they knew where the penguin came from. "Hey, birds!" Look at him yelling. But they ignored him. Some birds are like that. The boy asked his duck in the bar, but the duck just floated away. He didn't know either. That night, the boy couldn't sleep for disappointment. He wanted to help the penguin, but he didn't know how. The next morning, he discovered that penguins come from the South Pole. But how could he get there? He ran down to the harbour and asked a big ship to take them to the South Pole. But his voice was much too small to be heard over the ship's horn. Brrr! Poor little boy, they can't hear him. So together, he and the penguin would row to the South Pole. The boy took his rowboat out of the cupboard and they tested it for size and strength. They packed everything they would need and together they pushed their rowboat out to sea. They rowed south for many days and nights with the boy telling stories all the way. The penguin listened to everything that the boy said. Can you see them on those seas, sailing for days on end? They floated through good weather, and bad, and when the waves were as big as mountains, until they came to the South Pole. The boy was delighted, but the penguin said nothing. Suddenly, it looked sad again as the boy helped him out of the boat, helping him onto the shore. He's sad, that little penguin. Well, the boy said goodbye and floated away. But as he looked back, the penguin looked sadder than ever. I'm not sure if he's fixed the problem. It felt strange to be on his own. And the more he thought, the more he realized that he was making a big mistake. The penguin wasn't lost, he was just lonely. So quickly, he turned that boat around and headed back to the South Pole as fast as he could. And at last, he reached the pole again. But where was the penguin? The boy searched and searched, but he was nowhere to be found. Sadly, the boy set off for home. He hasn't found the penguin. There was no point telling stories because there was no one to listen, except the wind and the waves. But then, the boy saw something in the water. Ahead of him, closer and closer he got until he could see. What do you think he's seen? The penguin. What's he floating in? An umbrella. Look, they're having a cuddle because they found each other again. And so the boy and his friend went home together, talking of wonderful things all the way. They're heading home in that rowboat together. What a sweet story, Lost and Found. Bye.